Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Manavotsav event this afternoon. As you all know, that this is our closing ceremony, so that we are starting this week, and of course, on 15th we are going to then launch all the exhibitions and all of that. So please do send in any of the pictures or images that you have drawn by children, or even if you have managed to do something, please do send it us to our email address. So today what we are going to do is going to be a very interesting session because we have with us Dr. Kartik Sharma joining us. He is the director of PAHUS. Now, PAHUS is an abbreviation, and of course, the inspiration for him comes from the instrument PAHU. I'm not going to go in much details about it because, of course, we will hear it from Dr. Kartik Sharma today. And of course, we will also be screening some of his films. And it's going to be a unique experience, so please stay with us. I will now ask Dr. Sharma to join us in the studio. Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Rani, and good afternoon to everyone tuning in. And firstly, thank you to Manav Utsav for this opportunity and great honor. It's a pleasure to be here and share, my journey as of now, because I've only just begun. So it'll be a pleasure having this interaction. Thank you.
It's fantastic. Thank you very much for actually agreeing to do this event because I was thinking of this for a long time, but I know that your busy schedule and all of that, and you're trying to do a lot actually behind the screen. Again, we are going to listen about or hear about that from you today. But just to start with, if you give us a little bit around your background, I know that you are a researcher, and then of course your research fed into your innovation, and you're doing massive work at the moment as well. So if you tell us a little bit about that, your journey and all of it, that would be wonderful.
Sure, sure. Firstly, Rani, I really like the topic of your of my session, Journey of PAHUS, because as they say, the journey, like Laozi said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So
Step.
my first step was in actually in the medicine in dentistry. So my undergrad was in dental sciences and public health, and then after that, I worked in PHFI, Public Health Foundation of India, and worked in Tata Institute of Social Sciences, again in India. After that, I came for but I was always doing arts and films and theater on the side. And then I came to UCL for my health humanities and practical documentary making. So this journey, which was running in parallels with research and arts, I got the chance to finally converge it with PAHUS. And as you introduced it, it's the full form is Public Arts Health in Us. And I was inspired by a Polynesian instrument called Pahu, which is used to in Hawaii they play it, and it's used to
Mhm.
announce important newses and events in the community. So I felt that kind of really gels well with my the kind of work I want to do. Take research and announce important messages to the community. And yeah, so my research career has been in India, Thailand, and presently in the UK. So it's an interesting journey which is unfolding for
Yes,
me.
and I could see that you have in a way kind of envisioned your project, which is Pahus now. Um, I mean, you've envisioned that from the concepts of your research and what you have been really doing, or sending out a very strong message really around why media is important for public
Hmm.
health communications, and I know that you have been making film and all of that. So if you tell us a little bit about that, why media is important, how did you see it, and how you're working on that.
I think that's a very pertinent question because, as you will also understand, Rani, research works a lot in silos. You know,
Mm.
uh, it's the form of dissemination is very limited, either in research papers or conferences or dissemination meetings, where also the audience is very research based. There's very less opportunities or awareness or access for the general public to know about these important events. So that's how Pahus came about. It wanted to break these silos and
Mhm.
kind of build bridges between public health research and the public. And obviously, if you're getting public involved, it has to be interesting. It has to be in a language. It has to be an emotional tool which the public can relate to. So that's how PAHUS is kind of engaging with research. So it works with researchers. It's currently involved with few projects in universities, and it understands the research component behind it. What is it? What is that one message they want to communicate to the public, or few messages, and then we translate it into different artistic pieces as pertinent. Should it be an animation? Should it be a documentary film? Should it be an exhibition, an event, or a festival? So the key is knowledge translation into a language which is interesting and fun and engaging, and something which is easily usable by the public. It shouldn't be like, oh my god, okay, I've got this brilliant news, but how do I use it in my daily life? So it should be simple to execute for the public. That's what Pahus is trying to do.
Yeah, and I can see that actually. You have recently done the exhibition as well for the Champions Project, isn't it? So it's been a wonderful one, and lots of children have engaged. And I think that the journey continues. What you were saying there is also very important. Where we were talking about, like, how do you actually make people understand what you're trying to say? And we had a conversation actually yesterday in a project meeting, and I was saying, well, however you want to encode a message, it really depends upon who is receiving it and how they are going
Yes.
to decode your message.
Hmm.
And it's difficult. So when you are making that movies or animations, how do you work on that? Like, how do you try and make it more sort of intelligible in the context of public communications and all of that?
Like as you rightly said, the first step is uh, who is the audience, who is it that we are wanting to engage with that research or piece. So once we identify the audience, say if it's 6-year-olds, or if say it's 50-year-old doctors, and so so the audience really defines how we will shape the narrative, shape the storyboarding and things like that. So the first step is the audience, and then trying to make it more interesting for them, like trying to understand what is it that they already would be knowing. You do not want to preach to the preach. What is it that's
Mm.
there's something interesting for them, what is something new for them. And then trying to, once we know the substance, then we design the form that, like doctors, children, everyone is human, they want something interesting. And then, once we have that substance right, then we design it and make it more interesting for them.
Yeah, and
It,
in that, do you find that any of the specific components are very important? So, say, for example, if you are trying to communicate a message, you need to actually have characters who are telling the story, in a very kind of digital storytelling or documentary or movies. Or do you think that it's more kind of, it depends on the situation, and then you're talking about whether using infographic or more kind of a interventional medium, like where you're making documentary? I know that you're doing at the moment few of them.
True. I think is what is the most important thing to understand about film or arts is that it is an emotional medium. So research is data driven, fact driven, but arts is a very emotional medium. So we have to know that, and not forget that it should, like, well, recording something is recording something. We can be recording our interaction today, but it
Mm,
does not become a film. It is still it's a little dialectic
mm,
between two individuals. So we have to focus on the whole emotional side of it, and then try to do justice. So many times in research, what happens is that we forget, we try to overburden it, we try to put too much into it, and forget the whole nuances of the emotional side. That if you're showing something, you should give the audience time to absorb it, reflect on it, go back and think. The message maybe will not be delivered as soon as they watch the film. Maybe it'll just strike the imagination after 1 month, or maybe an hour later, or 2 weeks later. So you have to give that time in the whole
mm.
narrative for them to absorb. And then coming to the other part, after articulating that it's an emotional medium, which we shouldn't forget about. You said something, asked something about the characters, the infographics. Again, if I may share something about the Champions project, which you introduced, who I'm working with, Professor Monica Lakhanpal in UCL. So
Mhm.
we wanted to do an animation about this is a project about homeless families and children. So I suggested, why don't we have an animation about navigating the system. You just land up in a homeless shelter through an organization, but what do you do next?
Mhm.
What is, because you imagine yourself in that room, and you're like, there's nothing on the walls, like, where do I go next? So putting ourselves into their shoes and helping them navigate the system. So it was obviously the research team really liked it, and they gave their inputs, and they were like, okay, now let's meet the some of the people, the CEP panel, the from the homeless community, and then we had a discussion with them, and they said, animation might not work. All we want is posters, and all we want is, as you said, infographics or characters, which are something which we look at it and we know, okay, so if it's for housing services, we have that infographic, and then we look at it and we just connect it. Or if there is something about transportation services, we look at it and then we just connect it. So it can be simplistic or sophisticated. It just, again, depends on your audience and what is it that is useful for them and not useful for them. Sorry, I hope, Indrani, I'm not going on and
Yes, you
on, and
did.
then
No, you did absolutely, and I think that this is a kind of a thoughtful process, as you said. That
yeah.
sometimes it becomes very difficult if you are, so say for example, two different pathways we are talking about. One is the creative pathway where we are visualizing a project in a more kind of creative light, and then you have got the scientific evidence where you're kind of you have got some facts that needs
Hmm.
to be told. However, for the audience, the facts, a part of the facts might be useful, but actually how that unfolds in their daily life is kind of
Yeah.
very, very important. And I think that that's where the challenge lies when it comes to public health communications. So,
Hmm.
what are the different kinds of projects that you're working on, or what are the kinds of projects you're making, ongoing projects? If you tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So currently, in India and in UK, we have the early years project for the exhibition, which is which has been made in collaboration with in UCL and India Alliance. It's raising awareness on the early years of a child, and it's a curated exhibition, and it's on the PAHUS website. I'll be happy to share the link.
Yeah.
That's one ongoing, and we recently had an exhibition around it. So Professor Lakhanpal is again leading it, and I'm co-leading it, where we had people from artists like Mr. Raghu Rai to the to senior members from UKRI, to Mark Tully, Sir Mark Tully from the BBC, and the principal scientific advisor. So we were just having these conversations about the importance of early years in a child's life using the medium of arts, paintings, photography. And this is a curated exhibition, and it's on the space. It's a virtual exhibition, and will be g- happy, grateful if members of the audience can go and have a look, take part in the pre and post evaluation, because a very important part, if I may add, before I jump to other projects I'm currently have the opportunity to be engaged with, is the need to build evidence for all these efforts which we're taking. So thank you, Rani. If you scroll up, there's this pre and post evaluation. So it's very important as communicators we build evidence for the scientific community to be encouraged, because as part of funding programs it's all about facts and research and evidence. So it's so important. So I'll be grateful if everyone can help build this initiative by taking part in it. So this is one which I am involved with, and the other one is the as I mentioned, the Champions project, which is with UCL, about raising awareness on homeless children and families living in temporary accommodation in the UK. So that also uses a lot of innovative communication channels. We've built a digital platform, and the website is available, championsproject.org. So it's kind of an interactive a digital platform where members from temporary accommodations can actually post or ask questions. And also, we will be providing all the information there through advice and resources. They can take part, share their stories, and also we'll be continuously updating it as we go about. So this is something which will act as an interface from between the community and the policymakers. So as part of this, as I was telling you, that we will be having taking building animations, infographics, having project films, and also lived experiences, capturing those and kind of translating them into interesting pieces and posting this here. So Pahus has been involved in designing, conceptualizing, and executing the creative strategies, including the digital platform for the Champions project. And so there is another very interesting and very pertinent is the Soapers Stars, which I have the which is working with Indrani and DMU. Lest it's an animation film, which is it's a very interesting thing which we are working on, and I think by September it'll be ready. So it'll be a great in September. It's a great starting step towards working together with De Montfort University and doing something. Yeah, so that's that, the Germs journey, and it's so we it's been also very interactive process with the research team having done a lot of background work, having designed the characters, having knowing the narrative, and giving Pahus the opportunity to actually animate the animation. So this is one. It's going to be a short animation, and um, God, I'm always almost sounding like I'm advertising myself too much. But and lastly,
No,
very
you're not.
recently, we have this opportunity with Co-Power project in Royal Holloway. It's going to be a photography and film based exhibition where, and the output, it's working with Black Asian minorities in London, in Leeds. But what is it, the racial discrimination they've gone through, and and then capturing that through short pieces. So the output is going to be a coffee table book and a digital uh, uh, exhibition, virtual exhibition, about posting those pictures and short video pieces from them. And
And
finally,
how, yeah, sorry. Yeah, go
go
ahead.
on, go on. Sorry, I'm just being
Are
going
you
on and on.
using social media channels for that project? So,
We will be using social media channels for that once the whole creative outputs are ready. And I think I'm boring the audience. They're like, he's a filmmaker, but he's not showing anything. And like so why don't we at this point Indrani screen one of the films, if I
yeah,
can
yeah,
introduce
let's
that.
do that. Yeah. And what is the
So
film that we're screening now?
so this film is, again, so since we are a lot of our audiences from South Asia, so I felt it'll be pertinent if we have films from India. So one of the projects there. Uh, so the first film, I think, as it's a journey, I would like to start with one of the first films or the creative projects I was involved with through PHFI. When in PHFI, had actually started this unit, arts and media unit. So that's where it was the initial starting steps for Pahus. So
Wonderful.
uh, this project works, if I may quickly give a quick
Yes.
background. It's called Voices for Health. It's a work raising awareness on environment health, and we use the medium of puppetry to go to different schools. And we
Right.
use Patua art form, which is a very traditional Indian art form for building stories about environment health. What do you understand? And this was co-created. We wrote the scripts, and the puppeteers actually helped us make it more interesting. It was a very exciting project. So i
Fantastic.
shall i shall play this now, in Rani. Please tell
Yeah.
me if you can hear the audio.
Yeah.
Is it fine?
Uh, no, we can't hear the audio actually.
Okay. May I suggest perhaps if you could play it
Yeah, if you
at
can.
your
Okay. I'll go into the. It's on the site, isn't it?
yeah on the
So where do
films
I
and
go? Do
us.
I go into
You
film?
play yes right on top films and us, and if you scroll
Yes.
down, it's the film over here.
Yep. It's loading, and then we are going for. Voices for Health, isn't it?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
So we worked with Rajasthani folk puppeteers. It's a state in Western India.
Yeah.
So through this project, actually, we had the opportunity to travel to different schools all across New Delhi and engage with around 2 to 3,000 children, raising
Wow.
awareness. So it was quite exciting. Okay, I think we're ready.
Yes, we're ready. Yeah, fantastic. Let me go full screen.
This initiative to raise awareness of environmental health issues among Delhi school children was the Center for Environmental Health's first major outreach effort. The Center for Environmental Health was launched by the Public Health Foundation of India in partnership with the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in May 2016. It was launched to address India's pressing environmental health challenges, and the center hopes to address these issues through the conduct of research, training and capacity building, advocacy, and outreach efforts. Your environment, your health. Engaging school students with public health in India. As part of the Voices for Health series supported by the Wellcome Trust DVD India Alliance. The project was led by Dr. Banalata Sen, an advisor at the Center of Environment Health. The program's aim was to use traditional arts as a powerful medium to promote public health and encourage creative inquiry in students for environmental health issues. With support and collaboration with the Happy Hands Foundation, interactive sessions with traditional artists based at the Katputli colony in Delhi were conducted. मनुष्य, जीव जंतु, हवा, पानी, पक्षी सभी इस प्रकृति का हिस्सा है. अरे पूजा, इतनी जल्दी तुम कैसे आ गई? कुछ नहीं, यहाँ से मुझे कहीं जाने दो, जल्दी जाने दो. क्या आप सब हमारा साथ देंगे? सब हाथ उठा के बोलिए. कैसा लगा बच्चों? अभी गाँव में सामने वाला है, अभी उसके बाद इतने सारे एनुअल फंक्शन है, उसमें भी बच्चे अपने आप पकड़ शो तैयार करके एक पकड़ शो ऑर्गेनाइज कर सकते हैं. क्या आप ये सीखा बना सकते हैं आप भी? Voices for Health organized puppet shows and patwa art workshops in 15 different schools located in Delhi NCR to create a better understanding of public health issues, initiate a dialogue about health, and to raise awareness on healthcare and hygiene issues through creative exploration. और जिस क्लास में सबसे ज्यादा सफाई होगी, जिस क्लास के बच्चे टॉयलेट में ही टॉयलेट करेंगे, So हमको getting this right, result like they say, visuals make more impact on the person's mind. So I think this was one of the perfect way of conveying how serious this issue is, and students have taken it very positively, and I hope they will implement this in their daily lives. So do you know that already, or? Slow motion.
For the program culmination at the Select City Walks Arcade, a skit was performed in collaboration with the enthusiastic kids at the Salam Balak Trust, New Delhi.
We are here from Center of Environmental Health, which is a partnership between Public Health Foundation of India and Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Can you have everyone over here, please?
कितना अच्छा था ना?
I mean, people hardly thinking about the environment these days. They take everything for granted. आप पूरी लाइफ all that to spend on. तुम्हें पता नहीं कितनी दुनिया में इन्वेस्ट हो रही है.
We've used art as a medium to transmit information on complex subjects such as air pollution and its impacts on health. I believe this has been a great success because air pollution, which is a somewhat diffuse and difficult subject to communicate to the general public because of the variety of the sources, what the health impacts are, and how does it affect vulnerable populations, were communicated excellently by the Katputli Colony puppet show, as well as by the play by the Salam Balak Trust, and most importantly through the very informative and well done art pieces from the various schools that were reached out to by the Happy Hands Foundation.
I thought it was a great way of engaging the regular public, especially in a public forum like this. It was kind of relevant themes and a very pressing concern, especially regarding how we celebrate our festivals, and they even please spoke about it. So religion is one major aspect of how we are sort of interacting with our surroundings.
Tell us something you learned about air pollution. सीखा आपने?
We try to not burn crackers in Diwali because it causes lots of pollution and it causes lots of diseases. तो वो बीमार होकर सिटी हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट होते हैं, तो सबको बताते हैं कि क्या क्या हुआ था हमारे साथ, सबसे जो कारण
बीमारियां हो सकती है, उन्हें कौन समझाए बेटा?
अरे बाबा ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता, ये सब कहने की बातें हैं। मैं तो आज तक भी बीमारी हुई, देखो सही सुना मतलब। अच्छा बेटा, तुम्हें कौन समझाए बेटा? क्या बता? ये क्या बोल रही है? अरे बाबा ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता। अरे बेटा नुकसान हो सकता है।
Yeah. So this was our first initial steps towards public engagement and using arts and different creative methods to in research. So
it's interesting. And how long did it take for you to kind of do this? Like, because I can see that lots of people engaged in the process, and then you have had different venues where you went to, and you had to do shootings and stuff as well. But at the same time, you had to, to say, for example, you're writing a script, but it doesn't go on the day itself. You have to have, or you will come across situations which is unmanageable and all of that. So altogether, how difficult was the process? How long did it take?
well, it's always organized chaos when you're trying to undertake creative set. But no, we had a good. So it was Dr. Banalata Sen. She was the PI of the project, and then I was leading the engagement side. And then we had support from another organization, Happy Hands. So they were very comfortable with working with the puppeteers. So me and Barnala, Bono, it's a name. We used to go to the puppeteers and have a conversation. It was really fun, actually. We used to feel very artsy, go to the where they lived, work with them, discuss about the topic, understand what they've understood, and then tell them, okay, you write this script now, you know
Hmm.
because if when they wrote the script, they were automatically more comfortable with it, and then we just helped fine tune it once, making sure they have got the messaging right. So that really helped with the whole creative aspects. And then they made the puppeteers. Then we had the Happy Hands Foundation, which helped, and our network, and a lot of support from PHFI to actually engage with schools and have some volunteers, making sure everyone goes there and things like that. So it was fun. And so everyone had their responsibilities charted out. So I
Hmm.
was my thing was responsible for the creative side, and also making sure the filming and the end final event at the Select City Walk. So it was just delegating and somebody just making sure everything is working. So me and Bono used to do a lot of that, and then while having a lot of fun and also going a little crazy by the end of it.
Yeah, yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. Like yeah, there must be lots of frustrations involved in the process as well, but of course you use that to build it more strong way, and that's the fascinating part of creative,
Yeah.
any kind of creative pathways. I find that it's quite interesting because when we are talking about, say, for example, mental wellness, mental health,
Mm.
there is always a stigma attached to it. However, when we are actually using different forms of art, which we are experimenting this time in Manavotsav as well, that we are trying to
Mm.
bring in different forms of arts and then trying to see how those contributing to mental wellness. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that then the conversation comes very easily, like you did here. So the kids were engaging, and who doesn't like to have fireworks and stuff? But, a child coming in to say that, it creates pollution has got a
Yeah.
long-term impact, not only
Mm.
on the on his own parents and family, but also whoever is listening to it. It's kind of
Mm.
it's really good, very powerful, I believe. So we can move on to the next one, maybe, like from
Yeah. Yeah.
there was another one that
Yes.
is on the side.
Uh, so after this in the journey, because so then once Pahus, so this was set up in India initially. So one of the first projects we got was the Actor Doctor project, and this was run in partnership with uh, Darpana Academy in Ahmedabad. There's this very influential and artistically involved lady called Dr. Malika Sarabhai, based in Ahmedabad, who's heading she's also a very famous dancer. I do not want to say the wrong dance form, or I'll get into trouble with ma'am. So, but she is very good in one Indian dance form, highly proficient. I think it's Kathakali, if I may dare say so. But so we worked together, and so that was something where I was the PI of the project. So I was in the journey, one of the first few projects where the I was on top of it, and not so I had to make how it is. Well, you have to look at the admin boring side, to
Yeah.
the communication side, to the creative side. So it was a great learning experience. So very quickly, we worked with actors, our theater persons, and with doctors, and we identified few themes based on our research, based with discussions with researchers at India Alliance, in PHFI, in Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So we identified themes, and then we said, okay, on these themes you have to make plays. Uh, and so the artists work directly with doctors, and then they made scripts so that it's fun and it's also entertaining. But a very interesting takeaway from this thing was, and it's also evaluated and published paper in a research as a research article, where the interesting shift we saw was when the artists were working with doctors, they were so concerned that, oh, they have to be serious, they have to get the messaging right, it should almost to the point of it becoming pedantic if it's pertinent, and the doctors were like, oh my god, this is so boring, you have to have it interesting. So it just shifted. We were thinking the artists would be like, oh no no no, this is boring, and the doctors would be like, no no no, you have to be serious, but the roles just reversed. So that was a really good takeaway from the project. And we had street plays which we performed. Again, it was a really fun project where we went. We had the sensitization workshop. We called artists, researchers, doctors, everyone participating. Everyone knows what they're doing, establishing the clarity, which is so important. What is it that you're doing and you have to do, and then giving them freedom to do what they want to do. And then those plays were executed in different parts of Ahmedabad, to slums, to popular student shopping places. And Ahmedabad is great for arts and food. So we were having fun traveling and eating and filming at the same time. So, Indrani, if I may ask you to play the film, and these are more project films than entertaining films.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, uh, so if you go on top, you'll see actor and doctor project.
Yes, yeah.
If you click on that, please, we will have the film there, and also the research paper, press, coverage, art, research article, everything is right there.
Perfect. Yeah, I've got to it, so we're going to bring it now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
The Actors Doctors Project, staging public health matters supported by the Wellcome Trust DBT India Alliance, is based on the old treatise of Indian theatre, the Natya Sastra, that is to entertain and educate. We came about this project idea due to the lack of public engagement with public health research. There was a gap felt, and we wanted to do something about it. So the project idea works on three principles: to have a three-way learning process, to engage with the doctors and researchers, to expose them to innovative ways of health dissemination and public engagement, to work with actors who are already working with health and social issues, to provide them the right platform, the right way of learning about facts, and also the sensitivity of portrayal. And thirdly, to engage directly with the public.
करना क्या है ऑडियंस को पकड़ने के लिए इतना भी अनफेमिलियर नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो के आमद की समझ नहीं और इतना भी फेमिलियर नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो यार आप तो बदू में सो द पॉइंट इज कि हमें ये ओपननेस रखनी जरूरी है कि हम किससे बात कर रहे हैं, किस चीज की बात कर रहे हैं और सबसे इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन क्या है. The Actor Doctor Project started off with a 2-day sensitization workshop at Darpana in Ahmedabad. The participants were a mixed lot. There were medical experts from various fields, including cardiovascular disease and mental health. There were young actors who had experience only in college plays. There were directors who wanted to direct but had never directed before. There were also directors and writers who had spent many, many years in their craft. We have seen girls having menses, first menses at 9 years of age. And ये वक्त इतना तो irregular चलता है because the hormone cycle has not yet set up. Health in general हम समझते हैं, which is understood to be physical health, but actually health means all three aspects of health. गांव का लड़का लड़की है कि शहर का है, तो इसी हिसाब से आप मीडियम चुनेंगे. In simplified चीज को बिल्कुल सिंप्लीफाइड करके आप मेरे से बताएं. तो जैसे ही आपने एंटर किया शुरू किया तो विद इन 30 सेकंड आपके व्यूअर को आपको पकड़ लेना. अगर संगीत का इस्तेमाल करना है तो दो बातें आपको करनी होगी. या तो छोटे छोटे कॉम्प्लेक्स गाने लिखने और उसको कैसे गाना है वो कंपोज करना. After a day of understanding the theoretical framework and the medical issues at stake, the second day saw the participants take a very active role, led by Dr. Radha Ramaswamy of the Center for Community Change and Dialogue in Bangalore. The participants were asked to put into practice some of the things they learned in the Boal technique, a technique called theatre for the oppressed. Darpana has been using the arts to talk of public health issues for many years, and with statistically very significant results. Through this project, what we were trying to do is to get more people, both on the medical side and on the performance side, interested in exploring this as a way of public health issues and the spread of them. Educating the public about health, about what they can do about health, is something that is crucially important in India just now, because lifestyle diseases, mental health issues are increasing so much. It is in situations like this that a project like this is meant as a pilot that can be scaled up nationwide to address this problem. And we hope that with this pilot, people will be inspired and have the confidence to understand that the arts are an amazing language to talk about health issues. 5 performances were created, 1 each on environmental health, sex education and nutrition, and 2 on different aspects of mental health, 1 about depression and the other about suicides. The 17th of February was D-Day for the groups. They fanned out across the city, from the old city to rehabilitation centers, from shopping areas to schools and colleges. Vanita Vishram, Mahatma Gandhi International School, Anjuman Islam School were the 3 schools, all very different, where performances were held. CU Shah Arts and Commerce College and the BD Arts and Commerce College were 2 colleges, both in the inner city, where performances were held. There is a settlement of homeless people in Pirana, where the performance was also held, as it was in the very popular shopping and eating area, Law Garden. 2 inner city poles were chosen, Nagarwado and Devni Sheni.
ओ प्रदूषण 2018 में भारत के 5 सबसे प्रदूषित शहरों में से एक का खिताब मिलने के बाद आज अहमदाबाद को 2025 में एक नया कीर्तिमान स्थापित किया। भारत के सबसे ध्वनि प्रदूषित शहर का। पर हमें नहीं था, हमें नहीं। વિશ્વમાંથી એક માણસ આજે ડિપ્રેશનનો શિકાર છે। સેલિબ્રિટી બની છેલ્લા રોગથી બચી જઈશ। બે સેલિબ્રિટીઓને રોગ ના થાય। हम रहेगा अहमदाबाद का गुजरात में। गुजरात का है हिंदुस्तान में। हिंदुस्तान में दंगे अलग है, रेप अलग है, लूट अलग है, चोरी अलग है, पर सेक्स की बात करना के घर तो नहीं कसू जाड़ तो नहीं कसू आवर तो नहीं कसू सीख तो नहीं तुझे लूजर आया कोई છે જે મને સમજી શકે મારા સપનાઓને સમજી શકે।
હવે તમારી એક્ઝામ્સ આવશે અને એને લગતા સ્ટ્રેસ અને એનો સામનો તમે કરશો। એ ફેક્ટર્સને કેટલી હદ સુધી તમારા કંટ્રોલમાં રાખવા એ બધું તમારે આ નાટક પરથી શીખવાનું છે।
ત્યારે માણસ હતાશ થઈ જતો હોય છે અને એ હતાશા ઘણી વખત તો છેક આત્મવિલોપન સુધી પહોંચાડતો હોય છે।
A mixed method study was used to evaluate the Actors and Doctors project to measure the outcomes of our intervention. These will be used for publication purposes to better inform future health research and public engagement activities.
That's another wonderful project.
So that really worked with the using the principle of co-production and working together in partnership. So yeah, quite fun.
That's unique, yeah, quite fun, and I can see that again, getting people engaged in the project and talking through, but also talking through local languages is another thing, isn't it? So it's kind of very powerful when you are. So how do you think about the language? How do we? Because when it comes to public health communication, say for example, what we have gone through during the pandemic time, and the problem that lots of the communities have faced who doesn't or who don't have English as a first language have struggled to get the message because, of course, it's mainly English. And how relevant do you think during the process? How relevant do you think it plays a role?
Well, I think that's because, as you see in the project, and I think that I must apologize to the audience members, because because we use in the first project a lot of Hindi, and in this one there was a lot of Gujarati, in the second project, and so I think working with local languages is very important. And even say if you are working for a project in the UK, but you have different diasporas, so I would feel like if you want to if using in some ways local languages with subtitling, if that helps you communicate with them better, then why not? Because and then with subtitling, then it becomes everyone can understand it. But if your target audience, again coming back to that, comes from a local ethnicity, or like they understand, they would be able to better you would be able to better build a rapport or connect with them better in a language they're more comfortable with. I think that is more of an opportunity than a barrier, so we must take it up. So even with this project, we could there was this discussion because our funder was national based. So they said, like if it's very local language, then it might not be, understandable. We might not be able to use the scripts in other states and all. So we said, yeah, there's always a trade-off. But then we're like, if this initiative we're not able to do well, then what's the point of it? And if this needs to be communicated in a local language, then so be it. So yeah, so hopefully we will. The plan was to have it in different states and then in different languages and then build it up at a national level. So yeah, things are going on in the background, and it's very important, if I may add, Rani, to have local collaborators. So then the sustainability is built, then so with Happy Hands in the previous one, they were then able to do some offshoot projects from this initiative, and Darpana actually is much an old organization. They have been doing this for so many years, but they have that thing to actually take it forward. And because since they're so actively engaged in the form of theater, they were able to support these actors which came out of this project through one of their plays and help them develop and many of it's in the publication, many of them got interested in doing theater for socially relevant issues after this project. So it was very nice. So I think it worked in our favor, working with local languages and actors.
Yeah, that does make a huge difference, isn't it? And in some of the projects on NHS, of course, they are also trying to incorporate more languages. And even at our university, we are trying to kind of see when we are giving out the message and working with the community, we use different languages. And I think that's very important, definitely. Yeah. So I think we had another one, isn't it? Another project that you're working on, a teaser that you were talking about Are you still working on it? Is it a kind of a documentary or?
Oh yeah, it's like if, in the journey, if we stick to the whole journey thing, so it's like it started from very research in PHFI to India, and now we're in the UK. And now, one thing with PAHUS, which the vision is like, it's very embedded in within the university structure, and it is working with research organizations and working with researchers, academics, and then bridging that with artistic endeavors. One thing which I'm also very interested in as a filmmaker is how do we take the next step? How do we make it more popular? We have a structured, specific audiences, but how can we also create, elevate our outputs to a level which not only connect with our local targeted audiences, but also to a larger audience at a more entertainment level. So this documentary, which I'm directing, in this is being commissioned by UCL, and Professor Monica Lakhanpal is the producer and the poet, because we'll be using some of her poetry which gel very well in for the documentary. So the process being, I shot this in February, March, just before the lockdown, the second wave in India, and I shot it in a state in Rajasthan. And so it's a travel documentary, and the name is, the working title is Myths and Beliefs. So it touches upon health issues, social issues, and also the essence being capturing the mood of different cities. What is it, these myths and beliefs? How do they shape them? And how is it, which is something which a takeaway for us. So I visited tribal areas. I visited idyllic places like Udaipur, very touristy places like Jodhpur, and very historically relevant cities like Jaisalmer, which is, I think, Dijon has one living fort in France, and Jaisalmer is the second one. Like, I think these are the only two. If I may be wrong about the French one, but I'm right about the Indian one. Like, it's one of the only two living forts in the world. So I got to meet the queens, the royal families there, who were really gracious to local performers, to like street merchants. It was a very nice thing, and we're in the editing process. I'm working with a very talented editor, Rachel, who's helping. So we have finished a long cut of it. Now we're trying to bring it together. So our aim is to have a series, a travel series, which we can pitch to somebody like Netflix or Amazon or Mubi, or I don't know, like, have realistic. So I'm in conversations with, or BBC, so we are having serious conversations with the right fixers or collaborators for this. Because the idea being that, it's pertinent, it's myths, it's research, it's been shot in a very, and I'll give you uh, who inspired me, and with some good news around it. Like, so the idea was making it entertainment, art based, have an artistic value, something which will appeal to an Netflix audience, and then also have a longer documentary which we can share it for film festivals and things like that. So I will perhaps share I shared a link with you, and Rani, the short teaser um, with you, and if you can, it's a 2-minute teaser, rough teaser, which we made very quickly, and we're still refining it. And then we can talk more about it.
Yeah, I'm just opening the link at the moment, and fantastic, it's coming up. Yeah. Okay. Great.
And Rani, I think the screen is not visible.
Oh yeah, why is the screen not visible? Yeah, that's right. I've not shared it properly. Oh, okay. I got it. I got
Nice.
to add it to the screen. Okay, let's go back.
People were very afraid of the natural powers, because people were working and they are seeing like, what is this something which is giving so much of light and encompassing us with its heat. So they got afraid of the sun and they started worshipping the sun.
Joint families, we may not like exist on paper anymore, but there is a role we play as figurative heads of a place, and not only figurative, but also we somehow have space in the hearts of all the people here, because we are still a traditional society.
The first income of the fort was generated by selling the bat poops as fertilizer.
Wonderful. Yeah,
So,
I mean, so what you have been actually trying to do here is to kind of get the bring the life on screen, isn't it? So it's very much about the journeys, but also the places, which is unique.
Yeah, and the mood of the city. So
Mood
I'm a big fan of two filmmakers. One is Wong Kar-wai from Hong Kong, and the other is Mr. Satyajit Ray from, of course, he's well in from Kolkata in India. So these two really inspired me, and I might be doing some work in Hong Kong. Just recently, I got to know from my friend. So I'm so excited. I was like, I don't know what just make me useful, and I want to come there and do some work. So yeah, this is the journey of uh, in a nutshell about PAHUS, from very research to moving towards more of a popular based, entertainment based. So I would say like my logo is a leaf, and the roots are very research and public and community based and awareness based, and the trunk is where all the fun happens, and all the ideation, and the leaves are where which spreading in different directions about and different messages. So somebody might take a leaf for just for entertainment, somebody for knowledge, so it's that's how the journey is at
It's a
the
very
moment.
unique concept. I quite like it, and the way you explained it, it's really nice because you have got the leaf, and then children, when they first try to look into the plants very closely, they're given this what's it called, the magnifying glasses, and I find it quite nice when the children actually take the magnifying glasses. The first thing they do is to go and look into either a ladybug or the leaves, and they feel that the veins in the leaves
Yeah.
they become more prominent. And I think when I saw your leaf, in the logo, as our audience can see that as well on the top right, and it kind of gave us that unique sense, that leaf can be, and also it's kind of sometimes it's something that reconnects us back to life in some ways, so connecting it to nature and all of that. So it's wonderful. I like the logo and also
thank
the
you.
concept. But you're doing an amazing work, honestly. And it's fantastic to have you today, really, and in the studio. And thanks for making the time. I know that you're quite busy, but thanks for making the time. And we look forward to working with you, definitely, in the future to kind of, build more projects and stuff and take it from there, really.
No, it's a pleasure for me, and I would say I've been lucky to have met the right people, the right collaborators along the way, because it's always a teamwork. Yes, like as this, I think somebody said, if you want to walk quickly, walk alone. If you want to work far, walk together. So it's been really nice, and I thank you, Rani, for this opportunity. It's actually very nice for me personally also, because I say journeys are always two ways, externally and internally. So like through this, I also got the chance. I was like, oh wow, okay, nice. It feels nice to have revisited all these things, got the opportunity. So look forward to it, and thank you again for your time and this opportunity. And I wish everyone a lovely weekend, and see you
Fantastic.
everyone soon. Yeah.
Yes, and hopefully the weather stays okay. But just for the
Yes.
audience, we have got PAHUS. Their website is here as well. So if you can scroll back as well. We have shown that on the screen. But also, if you want to get in touch with them, and you've got a project idea, or you want to bring your research to life, definitely you've got an email where you can also get in touch with PAHUS. So thank you again. Thanks to Dr. Kartik Sharma for spending the Saturday afternoon with us. And
Thank you.
wish you all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Indrani. Pleasure. See you soon. Bye.
See you soon then. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.